I've been here for 7 years in the role and grew up in Tasmania, Lonnie boy, travelled, got a whole bunch of experience, came back to there and then took the reins of Tasdance in 2018. Hi, I'm Adam Wheeler and I'm the Executive Director of Tasdance. Tasdance is Tasmania's state contemporary dance company and we're part of a network called Assembly 197. So Assembly 197 is a live arts centre based in the north, in Launceston, Tassie. We run Tasdance the company, Situate the professional development program, and Arteries our professional or education and pathways program. We also house 3 other organisations. They're independent organisations to us, but we create a facility and a centre for them to gather. So Tasdance plays an integral part of that hub and that network of contemporary, experimental, kind of modern day practice of making work here in Tasmania. We're currently in King Island on a 4-week residency program. This program is called the Influencer Regional Residency Program. It's funded by RAN Arts and Regional Arts Australia. And this allows us, this is part of a bigger program and strategy of how we can connect with communities around the state. So we chose 4. We chose Stanley Smithton, right in the far northwest, King Island, Flinders Island, and then St Helens. So really focusing on the north for the time being, of how we can not only come and connect with community and show and create contemporary dance like it's happening behind me, but also connect with local dancers, people that run the businesses, get to understand the country that we're getting the privilege to work in, and then do that through workshops, making the work here, and then eventually presenting the work here. So this IRP, is what we call it, is part of a 3-step legacy project that hopefully then continues momentum for Tasdance to be, say, on the island, ideally annually. So we keep building relationships to keep understanding what is it the locals of King Island want when it comes to contemporary dance or dance in general. Rather than me thinking I have all the answers and the company and just dumping a project in and then disappearing the day after. Like you were saying earlier about how we find deep connection and enjoy what the community and what particularly like King Island can really offer us. And we can then offer them. So it becomes this real beautiful exchange of creative thinking and creative sharing.
So you're almost saying that you could do very different dancing in different locations depending on your interaction with the community?
Absolutely, yeah. I think what we'll see with this particular project, we just had a week in Stanley, a week here, now we've got a week in Flinders Island, then a week in St Helens, that those weeks will all impact the making of this work. So what we present here in 2026, you'll see we'll have a combination of those 4 areas embedded within the work. But the other really exciting thing that we're working on at the moment is connecting here in King Island, we're connecting with the school. Yesterday we taught a workshop with the Year 7 and 8s, got them dancing in the gym with us. This afternoon we're with the grade 3, 4s and 5s. And what we're hoping to do and what we're thinking about doing is looking at creating work with them next year and then presenting that work alongside the professional work. So we really believe that dance is for everyone. Dance can look like many different things. There's many different ways we connect to dancing. Some of us have gone through university and study it and now have it as a profession, but a lot of us just enjoy dancing either in social contexts, hobby dancing, or even having a good dance at the pub, right? Like it's all part of our ecology and how we exist. So we want to keep finding ways that we can connect at all those different levels and then share that with the community. So the season we'll hopefully do here next year will feel very different to the season that we do in Hobart or in Launceston or in St Helens.
So when you are in a place like, say, here on King Island, you walk the beach, you see the rough ocean and the rocks and whatever. When it comes to dancing then and choreography, are you then sort of focusing more on what sort of movements are we putting in, what style of dance, or is there a combination, or what?
Yeah, I think that this particular project that we're making at the moment is reflecting on the idea of it got inspired by influencer culture and the rise of the influencer, but then starting to think more of a grander context of how we're influenced throughout the world, throughout social media, politics, the environment. So this work has a particular theme that they're focusing on, but by being here, like the ruggedness of the West Coast, and then we're on the beautiful sands of the East Coast yesterday afternoon. They have this indirect contribution to the work. So you won't necessarily see choreography about the rocks or choreography about the beaches or the wind or the green, but it inherently has an impact on how we as artists make this work.
What elements, because I can think of Indigenous, I can feel like Indigenous people, how they have a strong feeling with the land they're on and with their surrounds. Is it similar elements, or are you trying to implement those elements? Or
I think we're often and deeply inspired and privileged to work on this country. At Tasdance and our Assembly 197 network, our core values are based on deep listening, deep thinking and deep learning, which have been taught to us by members of the Palawa community that have generously given time to teach us and guide us through the idea of how we think about making work on country. We're not making work about country, and that's not our place to do that. But we keep learning on how those ideas how we can be affected by it. How do we listen to it? How do we, like this morning, in the last couple of mornings, I've been going for long walks along the coast and just taking the time to really appreciate what this particular place has to offer, and then how does that make me think about time? How does that make me think about the elements, the environment, and the space that we can create to present work?
How do you bring that across to your dancers then? Or you let them develop that when you talk to them, or you give them instructions? Or
Yeah, so when it comes to in our making process, we work, so like my role in this executive director role is far more about the facilitation and guidance and support, and letting the 5 artists really lead and really collaborate and contribute. We work in a highly collaborative format. So for Influencer, Kyle Shanks is the lead artist on the project, but all 5 of them have a huge amount of responsibility and accountability and opportunity to really feed into what the work looks like. And we also make sure that we find time, while we're on these 4 locations, that we're finding time to be, the early morning walks, the going and jumping in the ocean in the afternoon, doing the workshops in the schools, going to have dinner at the pub, getting coffee from the cafe. Like, all these little interactions allow us to, first of all, fall in love with this place, as we all have, and then think about the importance of why we get to do what we get to do.
now, you got a small team here of people. Is it always around 4 or 5 dancers, or you also have bigger performances? And
Yeah, good question. So at Tasdance, we're what's called a project-based dance company. So I employ and engage with artists particular to the project we're working on. One of the things that I really enjoy doing, part of my job, is thinking about how I can keep shifting, or Tasdance can keep shifting the lens of how we experience dance and how we experience performance. So for this work, we have a team of 5 professionals. For a work we made in March, we did an outdoor performance as part of 10 Days on the Island. That work was called Beacon, and we worked with a team of about 10 professionals, and that was across production, design, as well as performers, and then 70 local community members. So our youngest, I think they were in their digits, 7 or 8, right up to the mid-80s. We never asked for an exact, we like to be polite, but you had this beautiful range of 8 decades of knowledge and thinking and understanding of being a local in Launceston. And they worked with us across a 7-week period to create a 30-minute dance work. So we have like Beacon with a cast of nearly 80 to then Influencer with a cast of 5. So it really keeps shifting and evolving depending on what we're making at the time.
So is it almost like with Tasdance, the education part is almost stronger than the performance part, or is it a balance?
I like to think that they have a beautiful symbiotic relationship. Yeah. I think they really feed each other often. And one of the things that I really love about regional practice and running a company in somewhere like Launceston in Tasmania is that we feel a deep responsibility of how we connect in education settings and how we connect with community. I've been lucky to work with some amazing companies around the world, and often that can feel in big cities, and that can feel like you just make the work you want to make and present that to the audience that come. Here, we feel like it's so deeply important that we embed ourselves in community and understand what it is that when we're making this kind of stuff, that people can connect to it. It feels approachable, that people have empowered by it, and they feel a real connection to it, and somewhat even like an ownership of it. So we're going to call ourselves Tasdance. That all the Tasmanians can feel like that's they're kind of connected to that idea.
So you were talking about coming back here next year, do performances. So how do you envisage that? Like, what's the plan? It's like you're here for a week, or what? Give us an idea.
Yeah. So the long form plan has been back in 23. We came and did some initial workshops and some gatherings and met with a few locals. Then this week here as part of this regional residency program, and then what we're currently doing is fundraising at the moment to get us back here, hopefully around kind of May, June next year, where we'll then present the final version of this work alongside the short pieces that we'll make with the students. So we have a teaching team as well at Tasdance. There's a group of them. Gabriel Comerford and myself do a lot of the teaching as well. But we'll bring over. We'll probably give her a fancy title, something like community engagement coordinator or producer. And then Sarah and I will We'll come in early, maybe like March. Spend time with the students, create some pieces, keep that relationship going, and then hopefully it all culminates here in the town hall for like a 2-night season, sometime around May, June.
So like get together through dance.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, I strongly believe that as a community and as a society, we are stronger together. When we create opportunities where we gather face to face, whether that's on the beach, fishing boat, in a town hall, at the footy pitch, whatever it is, those moments of gathering keep us, there's positivities on our physical health, and our mental health, and keep us strong as a community. And they're the things we really need to focus on at the moment. And dance does that very well. Dance allows us to get physical. Dance allows us to be creative and express ourselves, and dance allows us to find an opportunity to connect and communicate and share and be empowered by that. And that's a really important thing to us at Tasdance.
We try slowly, real slow together.
Yep.